Hello and welcome back to the Headaches and Hot Takes podcast. I'm your host, Chaperian, alongside my co-host, Hern. He's that guy pointing at the camera right now. He is also known as the lifelong resident of 34th Street. He's also called the Annie Oakley of Red Ryder BB guns. And he's also a purveyor of Christmas staycations. The Herniator.
What's up, fam?
What's up, buddy? What's going on?
Dude, the fans have yet to miss with the nicknames. I love the theme this week. That's great. I'm here for it. That's nice.
The Annie Oakley of Red Ryder BB guns. I wonder what that could be referencing.
We'll find out. We will find out.
We'll find out. In the interest of Christmas-themed things, as this episode and the past handful of episodes have been, I figured we talked about it beforehand. We should give a little update on this coming week instead of going live on Monday, December 25th, because it's Christmas Day. And due to the fact that the episode is going to also be Christmas-themed, as many others have been throughout this month, we're going to have next week's episode go live Saturday, December 23rd. And you're not going to want to miss it, because first of all, it's your last Christmas-themed episode until 2024 of Headaches and Hot Takes. You definitely don't want to miss that. And also, I got a fun little game planned for the Herniator to play that he does not currently know about. No, it's his own game. I'll give you a little hint. It's his own game.
I'm sending you something. I'm sending you a package. You're not to open it until we are recording. I was like, correct. Oh boy. So I was honestly hoping, obviously, I'm one of those people, you can't, we have to talk. I'll see when I get home. No, tell me now or I will throw up. I can't do that. So I was so hoping that it would get here today, and I could be like, hey, it's already here, so we might as well go ahead and do it.
Yeah, guess what? But it's getting that tomorrow.
Okay.
The worst. You're going to have the longest possible wait between arrival and recording.
I'm just going to be looking at it.
We could try to record early for next week if you want. We can record tomorrow night for next week if you feel like it, pal. I don't really give a crap. If you want to get this, because I think it's going to be fun. I'm gonna want you to open it as well once it's there. So I think it's going to be fun.
We'll see what we can do then.
It's not a big deal. Let me be very clear right now. It's not a big deal, but it's
not a Lambo. You didn't go to Toyota for me?
How do you know it was a Lambo?
That's so stupid. Oh, you got me a Buick for Christmas?
Well, you're lucky. It was Toyota-thon. By the way, have you just seen Toyota-thon commercials this year? I don't think I have.
Is it a holiday thing? I know it's obviously like a thing, but I'm not. Christmas. Was it? It was?
It's Christmas, yeah.
I mean, on one end, I don't watch enough TV to really see commercials. So, I might have just missed it.
But same, yeah.
Let me ask you something.
What is... Oh, you ask me. You're good.
Scale of 1 to 10, how you feeling today?
Scale of 1 to 10, how am I feeling today? Yeah. I feel pretty good. I'm going to give it a 7. Okay.
That is the correct way to grade that scale, okay?
Yes, it sure is.
Recent debate. I'm sick right now. My whole house has been sick for the last week. My wife was sick first. She was sick for a few days. She's kind of on the down slope, we thought of it. So I said, hey, scale 1 to 10, how you feeling today? She said, not too bad, probably a 3. I said, a 3? Do we need to go to the hospital? It's that's terrible. No, a 3 is not bad. I was like, that's not what I said. I said, how are you feeling? She's like, well, anytime you go to the doctor, it's always 10 is bad. Yes, because at the doctor, they say 1 to 10, how's your pain? How's your discomfort? They cue those words in there. Granted, I didn't say scale of 1 to 10, how good are you feeling? Because then it's more obvious that I'm wanting 10 is good. But I think it's more obvious that whenever I say, how you feeling today? 10 is the good, and 1 is the bad. And I've talked to so many people since this argument happened, including you, and you agreed with me, and I'm so happy. But so many people just jump to the conclusion of, well, at the doctor, 10's bad. We're not at the doctor. Can you differentiate that we're not at the doctor when I, as your friend, am asking how are you feeling today? Are you capable? Yeah. So, and then my favorite example that I gave to all these people, would you do that with any other question? You have an exam next week. Hey man, Chaperian, I know you got that big test next week. Scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling? I'm feeling pretty good, man. I'm feeling like a 3. That's not what you would say. That is not what you would say. So why does it make sense for this?
It doesn't. Good example.
And everybody's like, well, I
good,
wouldn't
like a
say
3.
out of 10. I would give a percentage. I'm asking you out of 10.
What?
First off. Second
That's a
off, the
bull crap
percentage.
answer.
What's the difference between a whole number versus a percentage?
Nothing.
What-
3 out
what
of
does it
10
change?
equals, what, 70% in this scenario?
So-
But if you're by your logic, these other
Right.
people's logic?
So these
Why
people
would
that
no?
are saying like, oh no, back to how you feeling today. If you agree that 3 is, I'm feeling pretty good. So if I worded the question, on a percentage scale of 1 to 100, how you feeling today? You're going to be like, 30%, pretty good. No, you're not.
No, when you're feeling good, you're
makes
like, I'm
no
back to
sense.
100%.
Yes, literally exactly what I said. I was like, you said, man, I'm down today. I'm not feeling well or whatever. I'm back up to 100.
Yeah.
It's always, unless this question specifically says, what is your pain? What is your discomfort? Whatever.
Yep.
But apparently I'm in the minority. But apparently you and I are in the minority of that, what I
Apparently.
believe is the correct opinion. So I'm curious to see what people listening have to say about that.
I asked my wife as well, and I did my absolute best to word it the same way as you and not slant the question in any particular direction. I thought she would side with everybody else. She sided with us. Sided.
No?
She sided.
Shited.
She sided with us.
Sided.
So, down by the seashore.
I think my brother, said, well, what's the scale? Which way does the scale go? He asked. I was like, no, like, how would you answer? Like,
I kind of did
that,
too.
that is the question.
I specifically said, okay, when you're at the doctor, 10 is bad, 1 is good pain. And I said, but by the way that you worded it, 10 would be good. So 3 is really bad. I realized by the way you worded it, 10 is good, 1 is bad. I don't know why that's a debate.
I don't either, but it was. I was calling people, including you. I was calling friends. I was calling my dad, like, "Hey, answer this," and everybody, "No, I'll take 3." Like,
Why?
but then I would say the exam thing. Well, I'm feeling good, 3 out of 10. Well, I wouldn't answer it that way.
That's exactly how you answered it.
It's the same thing. It's just a different subject. You're just compiling. Well, doctor equals 10 equals bad. Be able to differentiate.
I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is. So,
Well, there you go. Sound off. Which way?
yeah. Where can they let us know which way?
They can let us know at Twitter. They can let us know on Twitter.
I forgot that's us at Twitter.
That's us.
At Twitter, on Twitter.
They can let us know on Twitter at. I never remember the ats. This is your thing. What are the
At
ats?
Headaches Pod.
At Headaches Pod.
No.
Or do we ever plug the email that they could like send us an email of like fan mail or anything? I
I
don't
think
we
I
ever
don't
do.
want to plug the email.
Are Twitter DMs open? They must be.
Twitter DMs are definitely open.
Okay. Well, DM us. Let us know how you're feeling.
Let us know.
Share some fan mail.
Or you could just be normal and at us on Twitter. That'd be fine too.
If you got the balls to do so.
There you go.
What were you gonna say? I said let me ask you something the moment you started talking. So
I was going back to cars and stuff. I was going to be like,
Okay.
what's the most... First of all, there's kind of 2 ways you could go about this. What's the most disappointing car to wake up to in your driveway as a gift on Christmas Day?
A Bug, probably. A Volkswagen Bug.
My wife loves those. I think
My
they're
wi-
terrible cars.
Well, I think those are terrible. My wife loves the Nissan Jukes. I'm like, those look terrible.
I used to like the Jukes. I don't really like them now.
Okay. I would cast a PT Cruiser would be terrible.
Oh, they're terrible. Weber, that is... Okay. Listen, that is the middle-aged, always angsty, kind of like, stumpy mom's car, if I've ever seen it. So,
Yeah.
not a fan of PT Cruisers, no.
What would you say? What is one of the worst cars to walk out? I mean, it's hard to say, like, assuming you're getting a brand new car for Christmas, it's hard to say, like, man, I would hate to walk out to a brand new blank. It's hard to say that, but
Part of the reason I said that you could take this 2 ways is like, did my wife get this for me? Because if so, we're paying for this thing. I don't want to walk out to a new, 2024, Ferrari. You know what I'm saying?
Here's
I'm
a $1,200 a month
This is
Ferrari.
very, very bad. So
more realistically, like, not Ferrari, like PT Cruiser or something.
anything from the 1990s that is not
Anything.
a Toyota. Anything.
Okay.
I hate the way all cars looked in the 90s. I think even Mustangs looked terrible in the 90s.
The Mustang, oh my god. Probably one of my favorite muscle cars, the Mustang. That era of the 90s, I'm like, who decided this? It looks terrible.
They all just got tiny, and they're like, not round, but not sharp.
Right.
And
it's like a glob.
Kind of smushed. You ever step on a toy car when you had it as a kid and like the roof kind of got caved in and stuff? And you're like, oh, this car looks really funky now. Every car from the 90s looked like that.
I thought you just dropped an F-bomb on here and I was like, what?
What?
Have you seen that clip?
I even said this sounded like it.
You said funky.
Oh, yes.
And it was exactly like that clip from Twitter. It was like, what a funky interception that was. He definitely said funky, the guy, but it doesn't sound like he said funky. And like, did he drop an F-bomb on live TV? That's exactly what it sounded like. It was crazy.
Has happened before, though. I remember Lee Corso. Every time I see him, I think of that time. He picked up the opposing. He's at game day, right? So he's always like at one of the home team's college, and there's obviously the road team that he could pick as well.
Right.
He picks up the road team's mascot head, and he's like, "I pick," and then he throws and he goes, "Ah, F it," and then he picks up the other one instead. I was like, "Oh."
Nice.
They went into the next game after game day ended, and then like slightly delayed it to cut back to game day and made him issue an apology on the spot. I remember that. So
I am so sorry.
F it, he said. So
we ball.
I love that saying. That's such a good saying.
I like it a lot too. It's fun to say like before you just playing Fortnite and you charge until 1v4. F it, we ball. You just run.
Me 3 seconds before we're back in the lobby.
these guys don't look that good. They're definitely bots in the lobby.
Or Shannon Sharp, and he was like standing with his legs crossed. He's like.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. What just fell?
What are you doing? You are so clumsy, dude. Clumsiest.
No. This desk is crap, and this floor is slanted like this. It's like if I do this,
is it safe? Is that floor going to cave in?
Okay, yeah. See, like going up is way harder than going back. But like going back is because it's downhill.
That's nice.
So yeah, not good.
Okay.
So I like bumped into my desk a little bit,
and
it shakes way too much, and so this box that's on the edge over there fell off.
Thank you for that explanation. Thank you.
Is that what you were gonna say? What'd you say thank you for? I didn't hear you.
I said thank you for that detailed explanation.
Thank you for that detailed. I'm surprised it's been a while since you've done that. I wanted to punch you every single time you used to do that. To something I was saying. You'd freaking snore.
I think I was pretty
how
good
boring
about,
is this guy on our podcast right now?
You would literally say, like, do you want me to tell you the history of Starbucks sizes? And I would be like, no. And you'd be like, well, I'm going to anyway. Like, I would let you know before and like, buddy, I don't want to hear that.
I know you don't. But it's interesting. So, suck it, Hern. I think that's probably why I started saying suck it, Hern in that one episode, actually.
I think it is, yeah. I think you're right.
So, suck it, Hern.
Pal. Do we have any other curveballs, or do we want to get into your favorite part of the week?
I think we've talked enough about Toyotathon.
Okay.
For this episode, personally.
Spoiler alert. The hot take of the week is the subject tonight. Well, it's based on the subject tonight. Our subject tonight, our main focus, whatever you want to say, is Christmas movies. There's so many. There's so many classics. There's so many. I think it's rare to find one like that has come out in the last 10 years that fits into the rotation because obviously nostalgia plays a big role. Definitely. You probably watched this movie your entire childhood, whatever. Some Christmas movies are a lot better than others. Welcome to Hot Take of the Week. It's my week.
What are you doing right now?
I was preluding the subject and now I'm transitioning into Hot Take of the Week, which for some reason
I feel like you didn't realize where like your GPS was set to there. You can kind of
no. I was like,
we're
talking about Christmas movies. I was giving a little like two sentence introduction on Christmas movies.
I love it.
And then for some reason, 20 episodes in, you still every week. Welcome to Hot Take of the Week, where one of us has 60 seconds to go out. Like you intro it. So that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna be like, welcome to Hot Take of the Week.
What do you mean for some reason? At some point, everyone is hearing Hot Take of the Week for the first time. We might as well give those people the luxury of knowing what's going on.
Welcome to Hot Take of the Week, where one of us has 60 seconds to rant, wave, do whatever they want to do about a certain subject. I have it this week. This week, buddy, don't even mute because I'll probably ask you a question pretty quickly. I don't know. Just don't even worry about it. I'm going to talk about what is, in my opinion, the most overrated. Honestly, it's not even overrated. It's straight bad Christmas movie. A Christmas Story. It's not even overrated. It's bad. Have you sat down as an adult and watched this movie once you weren't forced to because your family probably watched it all day Christmas on and off because it's on 24 hours the entire day of Christmas? Why is this movie, which is terrible, no message in it is good? There's not a single, name a redemption, name a redeeming thing about this movie. There's not one. Ralphie is a terrible person. He's 9 years old, dropping F-bombs, beating the ever-living crap out of people in school. He leaves his buddy to die with his tongue stuck to a pole outside. He's terrible. Ralphie is terrible. The dad can be funny, but that's not redeeming enough.
He's a bad person.
Right? The movie is just terrible. The narration sucks. I get so bored when the stupid narrators come on. The guy, which I guess is him in the future, narrating the movie, whatever. Frequent cutaways of a 9-year-old boy shooting tobacco. What are we doing? There is not a single message in this movie. It's thank God, a good message. I learned something from this. Not that every movie has to have that, but most Christmas movies do. Mm-hmm. So, A Christmas Story not only is overrated, it sucks. I will never voluntarily watch a second of it.
Slightly funny story. So, unlike per usual, you let me know what the hot take of the week was going to be this week. We, in all seriousness, don't tell the other person what the hot take is going to be, so we get a real raging, raving, waving reaction from the other person.
Normally, yep. Mm-hmm.
And that is usually how it goes. But this week, it somehow came up, and I was like, cool, I'm in. We could actually make that like the whole subject, right?
Right.
And that's what we're doing, so that's what makes this episode a little different, is that's the subject, is Christmas movies. We're starting with that one that we both agree is really bad. Coincidentally, 2 nights ago, I'm at the gym. I'm on the treadmill, and it's Planet Fitness. They have the TVs on there that literally automatically turn on when you start the treadmill. And so I start the treadmill up, and on comes A Christmas Story. How about that? I decided to give it a chance for the half hour that I was on the treadmill. And I feel like it wasn't as bad as I remember, but everything you just said is 100% true. Like, it's not, there's nothing.
What was the 30-minute stretch?
Let's see. It started off with him bribing his teacher because he needed a good grade on that like last paper. Through, oh gosh, what was the last thing that happened? It would have been right after he beat the crap out of the bully.
Scott Farkas. He had yellow eyes. So help me God, yellow eyes. Right.
I didn't have sound for what it's worth. I had subtitles.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I was listening to music anyways. So
it's just it's not funny. It's overall not funny.
By the way, hate to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
To my knowledge, there is no 2023 version of Merry Coffee this year. I did finally look into it like 2 weeks ago. I've been meaning to tell you. The reason I've not mentioned it is because I don't think there is one. I don't think there's like a saying that they're pushing this year. So, Merry Coffee.
There you have it.
There you have it. Merry Coffee. Back to it.
There you go. I there are a couple of quotes in it that I think are like, Fragile. I think a lot of people know Fragile from that movie. Oh, it must be Italian. Like, whatever. There are a couple of quotes. Whatever. It's just overall, if A Christmas Story is in your top 3 Christmas movies, I'm like, have you watched other ones?
Top 5 is a red flag, dude.
I agree. I just think some people like maybe have so much weight on nostalgia. They're gonna be like, I watched it every year. It doesn't mean it's good. It doesn't mean it's good.
So I only know one person that watched the 24-hour marathon of it every year. And that's my uncle. And I do remember from a very young age despising the fact that same movie was on for 24 straight hours. And so, like, over the course of while we were at his house. I'm so young at this point. I don't really remember all of the specifics. Mm-hmm. I'm like, why are we at this part again for the 4th time? What are we doing here? And because I just didn't find the movie that interesting. So,
right.
Not one of my faves. It's definitely one of my all-time least faves. I will say that there are absolutely going to be worse Christmas movies. I just don't think there's any big mainstream Christmas movies that are worse than that one.
Yes, that is the best way to describe it. Any Hallmark movie is probably worse than A Christmas Story, but for some reason, A Christmas Story is the one that's on 24 hours a day.
Right?
So.
Are the Beatles the worst band of all time? No. Are they the most overrated mainstream band of all time? Absolutely.
Yes. Yep.
So that's why they get so much vitriol from Hern and myself, is because like you guys, not necessarily our listeners, but people in general love the freaking Beatles. They're not that good.
So where do you want to go from here? Do you have a movie that you want to rat on? Do you have a movie you want to defend? What do you want to do?
I want to keep going a little bit into A Christmas Story for just a second. I want to mention what do people find so funny about the fishnet stockings leg lamp? There's like Christmas sweaters and shirts, and I see like back when I was on Facebook, which was not a long time at all, and it's been a few years at this point. You know, there's always those dads that are like, haha, need this, haha, can't believe it's real, haha, cool, love it. Man, this would be so funny to get. And I'm like, it wasn't funny in the movie, and the whole point of him having it is that he was kind of being a creepy weirdo with it, and his wife hated it because she knew he was being a creepy weirdo with it.
As was her sons. As were her sons. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
Are you all missing the point of the leg lamp? It's that men are trash. Okay? Like, you're not supposed to like the leg lamp.
I hate how much, like, sex sells. It does, and I hate it. Like, there are those people out there that, like, it's unfortunately ruined. Name a modern TV show or movie that doesn't have some unnecessary sex scene or some unnecessary, whatever. It's very vulgar. It doesn't need to be whatever. It is not necessary. But there are those people out there that's all they think about, or that's all that they find fun. He said 69. Please shut up. I hate you so much. If you have 69 in your gamer tag and your handle,
nice.
The only number worse is 420. The only number worse is 420. If you are so into 69 or 420, if you find it so funny that it is in your gamer tag or your handle, you probably peaked in high school and you probably got nothing to show since then. Okay? You suck. Grow up.
Now, what about when there's both in the gamer tag, 69 and 420? Is that redeeming?
No, it absolutely is not. It's terrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Be right back. Just kidding. Be right back. I gotta change them all.
We would not be on this podcast together had that been the case.
That's probably legitimately true, isn't it? If I was at Chaperian 69 and 420, first of all, I wouldn't be married. Second of all,
yeah.
Because my wife found my Twitter like the day after we met. And so I promise you that would have been an immediate like, nah, forget this guy.
Yeah. Oh, it should be. It should be a red flag. Yeah.
So
yeah, the leg lamp for some reason. It's
not that funny.
It's sexy. No, it's not. And like, if you find a plastic leg sexy, seek help.
Got me about to act up.
Don't be, dude.
Don't be, dude. Honey.
I don't know. What else do you got on Christmas Story?
Nothing on A Christmas Story. I think if you've said your piece, I am ready to move on to another take that I know that you're going to disagree with. I know my wife disagrees with this. I think everyone in her family disagrees with this. I have no idea what my own family thinks of this. I don't know if they have an opinion on it.
Oh, if you're going to say I think you're going to say we're going to.
You know where this is going because it came up earlier this month, and I just want to put this out there. Take the nostalgia glasses off and acknowledge that the most recent version of The Grinch is the superior version of the movie. It is the best version of the movie.
Meaning I think it was Illumination animated one.
It is the best version of The Grinch. It is. I like the old one. I think you're a big Jim Carrey guy, right?
Yes.
That definitely plays a role in this, right? I mean, that has to play a role in it.
Yeah.
I'm not, so that doesn't play an impact on me. I'm not a Jim Carrey guy. I'm just not a Jim Carrey guy. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so that doesn't play a role in it for me. And I watched it a lot growing up. That was my version until this one came up. And so, like, it definitely would have been my favorite version until this one came out. This one's way better. It's so much better.
Why?
Because story's more cohesive. I would say first of all, if I'm not mistaken, this is the only one with a true origin behind why the Grinch hates Christmas as strongly as he does and why there's like deep hurt associated with it. I think it has the best full circle story, right? It captures a lot of what the live action did and a lot of what the original animated one from either the 70s or the 80s did, in my opinion. Which it's all based off the book anyways. But the story of this one is so good. It has kind of a nice little section of the movie after he's already like redeemed himself. And I think that's probably the best part of the movie, like a good portion of the movie. I don't know. I just think it's the best version of it. I'm sorry, I do. And also, it doesn't do this thing that those early 2000s Dr. Seuss movies, which I guess is really just The Cat in the Hat and The Grinch, right? Is there another one?
If you hate on The Cat in the Hat, we're going to fight.
I don't hate on The Cat in the Hat. But can we acknowledge that The Cat in the Hat and The Grinch, first of all, had the exact same senses of humor? And they both were just trying to be like, whoa, wacky, radical, in your face, 2003, bro. Can we just acknowledge that that's what they were both doing? Because that's what they were doing.
To a degree. I think there's a lot. There is a lot of... In both of those movies, there's a lot of you have to listen to get the jokes. So, and a lot.
That's true.
Okay. So
I don't think The Grinch was meant to be a comedy. It has its funny moments, even in the most recent animated version. The original Grinch, or not the original, the Jim Carrey Grinch is a comedy, basically.
Right. What are you saying it should be?
It's not a comedy.
What?
Whatever you would say, like...
Are you saying the story of The Grinch is not a comedy, or are you saying the Jim Carrey movie The Grinch should not be called a comedy? I'm confused. I'm
saying the story of The Grinch is not a comedy.
You can take the story of Jesus and make it a comedy if you want. You can make anything a comedy.
Doesn't mean
that doesn't hurt Jim Carrey.
Doesn't mean you should take the story of Jesus and make it a comedy.
No, but this is the Grinch.
I don't hate the Jim Carrey Grinch. It's just not as good as the Illumination one.
But
and everyone our age, including you, has the nostalgia blinders on.
No.
And can't look past the fact that this most recent version might just possibly be better.
First off, I don't think it's a con. I don't think you could... How can you possibly say that it's a negative point that the Jim Carrey Grinch is funny? I don't get that. How is that hurting the movie that it's funny?
It's not... Again, I'm not anti this movie. I'm just pro this other one.
Right, but you're saying that's a con.
I guess you would say the more
movie.
serious tone, which I don't know that that's the best way to describe it because I'm not a movie buff. I haven't had an English class in like 6 years. I don't know that serious is the way to describe the animated Illumination version. But the less humorous tone allows it to deliver its message better. And again, I, in all seriousness, think it is a very... I hate to sound the curtains are blue, but it's a very beautiful message that the Grinch, the most recent Illumination Grinch, is conveying.
Did you ignore the message in the Jim Carrey Grinch?
No.
First off, second off, it does a decent job. Yes, like literally as a baby, as a newborn, his first words were Santa bye-bye. Like he has hated Christmas. They don't go into much detail as to why, but they do show why as a child his hate for Christmas was like cemented, and why even as an adult he hates Christmas. They did do that. They
changed it though from the Illumination one, and it makes a lot more sense in the Illumination one. To me.
Well, I'm sure a movie made 20 years later probably has had time to think out a story and make some good.
Why are we? What year was this Jim Carrey Grinch?
I think it was 2000. I think it was. Was it 2003?
No way.
It was at most 2003.
I remember when it was coming out, and I was born in 99.
2000.
So it would have been 2000. No way!
I thought 2000. So yes, a movie that has had 20 years to sit on a single story, I would hope, has made some tweaks. Yeah.
November 2000. Dude, that's got to be one of my earlier memories.
That's what, first off.
I remember when it was in...
Yeah.
I could not have been no less than 2 years remembering this being in theaters. I definitely didn't see it in theaters.
Maybe it
I remember
played
there being
in theaters.
discussions between my parents and other parents, like their friends, and being like, "Yeah, we're gonna wait to let Derek watch that one because it is a little in your face. It's not for little kids." So
right. I I don't agree with your 2 points so far that it's a bad thing that the Grinch should not be a comedy. You said it should not be a comedy.
I do agree that it shouldn't be. Doesn't mean that it's a negative.
But how would you coin, what tags would you give Illumination's Grinch?
I'm trying to think because
I think it's hard to... It's a movie made by the people who make Minions. I promise you it's coined as a comedy. I promise you it is, if you look it up right now.
Do you think so?
I promise
it is. It's just going to say animation, isn't it?
No, well, search, is the Grinch a comedy?
It's going to pull up the Jim Carrey one in that case.
No,
it says Christmas comedy. Yeah.
I don't know what...
That's a good point, though. I don't know how she would describe it.
Right.
And it has its moments, like I said.
I
just feel like...
I am... Good.
I feel like the Jim Carrey one is based around, early 2000s, radical, in-your-face bullcrap. And the 2018 version is a lot more well-rounded. That's why I'm thinking that it's better. Again, I'm not saying it's miles better and the other one's not worth watching ever. Or that the Jim Carrey Grinch sucks. I think Coolsville sucks. That's
I think Coolsville sucks.
My wife loves to say
love that. I love that so much.
I think Coolsville sucks.
Don't record that.
But
all Fred Jones had to say was, I think Coolsville sucks.
That's another movie that kind of did the same thing that I think The Cat in the Hat and The Grinch did. Where it's they took this already well-known children's IP and story, right? The general Scooby-Doo formula. And they threw a really on par early 2000s filter on it.
I love Scooby-Doo live action movies. And I think 2 is better than 1.
You think what?
I love the live action Scooby-Doo movies, and I think 2 is better than 1.
I think I remember 2. Is 2 the one where Scrappy's revealed as the villain?
No, that's the first one.
The villain in 1?
That's the first one, yep.
I don't think I know the second one.
The second one is I think Coolsville sucks. That's in the second one.
No way!
Mm-hmm. Because the first one, the first one almost entirely takes place on that spooky island.
Yes.
And the second one, where they're opening that museum in the honor of Mystery Inc. They're interviewing Mystery Inc. because the museum is opening, and they keep on cutting Fred's interview up to make him look bad.
Oh yeah, Monsters Unleashed. That would be the second one then. For sure. Uh-huh. Nice. Okay, good to know. Yeah.
I've
definitely seen it then, but I don't even really remember there being 2.
To directly combat you saying, take off your nostalgia glasses. I'm not saying that we rewatched The Grinch, the Jim Carrey Grinch, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. We rewatched that 2 weeks ago. I'm not saying it's bad at all, but I remember when I watched it, I was like, man, that wasn't as good as I remember it being. And it had been a while since I watched it, whatever. I'm not saying I don't have nostalgia for that film. But also, what you're saying, take off nostalgia, whenever that is a point for you. But also, you have to see it on the reverse of saying it's very 2000s. This movie is more well-rounded. Yeah, because one is 18 years newer. Don't be so blinded by your
Gen X and the millennials, which millennials are probably gonna scoop the Jim Carrey one too. If you take Gen X and the boomers, not that you care what the boomers think, and then if you take the iPad kids, I don't know what that generation's called. I'm gonna call them the iPad kids. Are they Zoomers? No, I'm technically a Zoomer. Technically. The iPad kids. I'm calling them the iPad kids because they're freaking weirdos because they've had iPads shoved in their face since they were 4 years old because they can't shut up in Kroger's without it. I said Kroger's. Kroger without it.
Everybody says Kroger's.
You're not supposed to, though, but it's a thing, yeah. Joe Burrow had a commercial where he called it Kroger's. It was a Kroger commercial. And that's how you know he's really from here.
Yeah, that's true.
He calls it Kroger's.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think the iPad kids would prefer the Illumination version, generally. I think Gen X and I think the boomers would prefer the Illumination version. I think the only version would be people who were children or coming of age during the time that it released that would prefer the Jim Carrey version. I think those are the only people that would prefer it.
I know, obviously...
So I think down the line, this would be more common, my take was.
This isn't polling the entire United States, but I know my parents, we sat down and we watched the Illumination version 3 years ago, whenever it was, I don't know. And we all thought it was decent, but we all like Jim Carrey's better. My parents included.
Is it because it's funnier that you like it better?
That definitely has to play a role, I was going to say this little video. I've only seen Illumination's Grinch once.
Okay.
At this point, years ago. So I honestly don't remember. Like you're saying, like the story is better, they do better. I honestly don't remember. I don't remember.
I definitely think the story is better. I think that's its strongest point, is that the story is just better told. I think they do a great job telling the story. I can't imagine telling it better.
How is it different though? Honestly, and it might be vastly different. I don't remember.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I'm going on a few years since I've seen the Jim Carrey one as well. Again, my wife prefers it, and you said you saw it 2 weeks ago, so you could definitely correct me if I'm saying this was in one version and not the other. You could definitely correct me. So again, I'm leaning heavily on this ending here. Cindy Lou Who shows up at the Grinch's place after he stole Christmas. Shows up on his mountaintop. He stole Christmas. He returned it out of guilt. Okay? They're all singing in the town square without any Christmas around. Part of why he stole it was the singing, the incessant singing. Right? He hates the singing. So he stole it. Newsflash, they still sing anyways. He feels guilty. He returns it all. Identifies himself as the guy who stole it. Whatever. Cindy Lou Who shows up. Hey, we just wanted to invite you to Christmas dinner. He's like, why? He's like, I stole your Christmas. I tried to make sure you didn't have Christmas. They're like, we know. That's okay. We want you to come anyways, right? And then it shows him like working up the nerve to come. And he's very relatable in this time frame, right? As someone who's kind of antisocial. He's like, I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go. Right? He gets at the door. He's like, I should just go home. Stuff like that. I think that's that's humorous, right? That's comedy. I think that's good. And then they let him in. And everyone's thrilled that he's there and whatever. They make him the guest of honor. He cuts the roast beast. Stuff like that, right? And I don't know. It's really nice. So.
Okay.
But it's like a long, drawn out 15 minutes or so.
I get that. And it is true that probably from the moment his heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Yeah.
Probably from the moment that line is said to the end of the movie is probably 8 minutes.
I don't even think they say that. Do they say that specific line in Illumination? I don't think they do.
I don't know.
It's like one of the biggest sayings, obviously. I don't even know that they specifically say that line. Or I think they might just show it.
Right.
Anyways, sorry.
As like, I'm not saying that the story. I can't play devil's advocate here. I can't 100% speak for Illumination. I don't remember it. But I think the story of Jim Carrey's Grinch is great. I think it's portrayed great. They're both comedies. I think they're both funny comedies. I did like Illumination. I remember going into Illumination's Grinch. I was like, I'm not gonna like this because
really.
I don't know what it was at the time. Like I hate how much a trailer can sway your opinion on a movie because a good trailer or a bad trailer. There's probably movies you love that you could find a trailer A and trailer B. One makes it look like a masterpiece. One makes it look like a Hallmark movie. Trailers can set the tone of a movie before you ever see it.
Absolutely.
But honestly, I hate trailers most of the time. For some reason, the trailers for it just didn't have me excited. I was like, I'm not gonna like this, but I did like it. Long story short, I think I will have to sit down and rewatch the Illuminations one again to give you a fresh opinion at some point. But I think How the Grinch Stole Christmas is my number one Christmas movie. I think it's great.
Oh my God, number one.
Yeah. I could probably.
Dang.
You could read say it's 200 pages, the script to that movie. You could pick a line out, say it, and I could probably tell you the next line of that movie. I would bet money I could.
You're nostalgic for this movie. You're very nostalgic for this movie. You just said it's your favorite.
Yes.
How long has it been your favorite? Since you were a little kid?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, it's never going to be dethroned in your eyes. Illumination could have made, the animated Citizen Kane of Christmas movies, and you would have been like, I still prefer the Jim Carrey one. It's your favorite. Of course you are. You know what I mean?
That's fair, but
yeah.
I don't know.
I just think if you look at the Christmas formula, and not that diverting from the formula is bad, I think the Illumination version follows the Christmas movie formula better. Plus, hold on a minute. Don't you dislike or not think Elf is that funny? Because you think it's just like any Will Ferrell movie. Okay, freaking Grinch is just like any Jim Carrey movie.
What's that mean though? Because I have a 3-minute rant about Will Ferrell movies, the formula of Will Ferrell. What's the formula of Jim Carrey movies?
The exact same as a Will Ferrell movie, I would say.
Which I said, they start off hilarious. and then by the end of the movie, the funny has run out or become stale or both, and the story is not enough to stand on its own.
For most Jim Carrey movies that I've seen, and I'm not a movie connoisseur, and I'm not a Jim Carrey hater, don't act like I am.
I'm not.
I would generally say that's if you feel that way about Will Ferrell, I can't see how you don't feel that way about Jim Carrey. Is all I'm saying. I don't feel that way about Will Ferrell though.
What Jim Carrey movies? You're admitting you haven't seen a lot. Can you name 2 or 3 Jim Carrey movies that you think start off hilarious, by the end you're like, eh?
I'm trying to think. I like Liar Liar, but it has more serious undertones.
Liar Liar is one of my favorites.
I would say, than a lot of the other ones. It's a little less comedic, I would say. Obviously,
it's one of his more serious, yeah.
Yeah, that one's
compared to Ace Ventura. Yeah.
Ace Ventura. Definitely tired of this chick playing in that movie. That's a great example. Probably The Mask as well. Great, fine movie. And it's definitely one where I'm like, oh man, that's so early 2000s. But like by the end, I'm like, did we really need a whole 90 minutes of this?
It's a lot. It's a lot.
So
I think I didn't in Ace Ventura, in either of the Ace Venturas, that I grow tired of it. I think it's good beginning to end. And again, when I said Elf, I think Elf and Step Brothers are 2 Will Ferrell movies that follow his formula the least. But they still do. I think they still, to a degree. I said it then. I haven't watched it since. I can't tell you how Elf ended. I could not tell you the ending of Elf.
That's your fault.
I could quote the first 30 minutes to you when he first goes to New York and
like whenever, like, you know, the whole like subplot of Elf is Walter Hobbs, his dad, right?
Yes.
And him needing to become less of a Scrooge. Mm-hmm. And so one of the best moments of the movie, one of the best movie moments in Elf is whenever his son shows up and it's like, it's Christmas Eve, Buddy's in the park and he needs our help. He's like, I'm busy, it's Christmas Eve, whatever, you know. And they end up, you know, he convinces him to leave and his boss is threatening to fire him if he leaves. And he ends up going, up yours. And the son goes, yeah, up yours. And,
okay.
You know, so that's one of the better ending moments of it. And then obviously they go to Central Park and they save Christmas because they fix the sleigh and stuff. I'm not saying, to kind of quote myself, I'm not saying Elf is Citizen Kane. I'm just saying I do like the comedy in it. And it's such a light and easy watch. I don't know. I love Elf. Elf is my favorite Christmas movie. It is. It was Christmas Vacation for years. It's been knocked down to 2.
Christmas Vacation is great. I'm thankful to hear that's in your top 3. Again, another one, like Christmas Story, like a lot of these we've said, it's very dated. You watch
it is
Christmas Story. There's a lot of things.
Dated in a good way. Can we be honest here?
What do you mean?
I think it's dated in a good way in that there's a lot of stuff that they said and did in that movie they could never do today. But because of that, the shock factor in 2023, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot they said that. You know? That's
true. That's fair. Yeah. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is fantastic.
It's a great movie.
All around. I think it's great.
Mm-hmm. Was my favorite for years.
I was literally about to say, if Elf is your favorite Christmas movie, I think you need to watch more movies. And that's insane. I can't believe that's your favorite.
I love it, dude. I watched Elf and Christmas Vacation the day after Thanksgiving this year. And I was like, perfect. That's really the only 2 that I need to see every year. So
there are others. You want to talk about Polar Express?
We definitely should. We definitely should at least mention that. I'm trying to make sure we don't miss any heavy hitters. People are going to be like, what about that one?
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
That's definitely another one people our age need to take the nostalgia glasses off of. It's really boring.
I will clock out.
It's a snooze fest, bro.
Polar Express. Yeah. There are some scenes that him drifting the train on ice is very cool. Tom Hanks, love Tom Hanks. He does a good job. But I don't know. Yeah, you will never hear me say, let's watch Polar Express. I'm never gonna suggest that we watch Polar Express.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just say, you know, a good movie probably follows a slightly shifted bell curve. It's not, you know, climax in the middle and then downhill from there. It's like slower build and climax right at the end, down from there. Mm-hmm. Polar Express is like,
the train scene is a decent spike. It's pretty good.
Sorry.
There you go. Okay, now you're right.
There we go. That's Polar Express abridged.
Okay, we have to talk about this real quick.
What's that?
When we talk about this movie, this is the best example of this thing I can think of, and I didn't come up with this. The Santa Claus. Okay, it's a great example of this. The biggest plot hole in every Christmas movie ever that covered I like the Santa Claus. The whole thing of the Santa Claus is that none of the adults believe in Santa. Nobody.
Yes,
the
stupid,
kids do.
Right?
But then they wake up in those universes. Santa is always real. So then, what do the adults think when they wake up on Christmas Day and there's 20 more presents under the tree than there were last night? It makes no sense. And like, I'm not saying like that has to be explained,
so dumb, right?
But it does make no sense. In the Santa Claus, the psychiatrist, whatever he is, the new boyfriend, whatever, Santa can't exist. He can't do this or that. Then what did you think was happening every Christmas when you woke up as an adult and there were 20 extra presents? It makes no sense.
I never thought of this.
I can't believe you haven't seen that. That's like people give other examples, but that movie specifically is like, look at how it's such a plot hole. It makes no sense.
People like to talk about how horror movies in 2023, and really for the last almost decade at this point, are really hard to frame because like cell phones kind of put a plot hole in the any horror movie ever. Bad thing happened. Do. You know what I mean? It's like that's it. That's all there is to it. Or bad thing happened. Record. Yeah, I'm putting you on Twitter. Mm-hmm.
World star.
World star, right? I haven't heard that in a while. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting. I think you kind of have to just look past that. So, in the same way that I think if you like horror movies, they don't interest me anymore. You do, sort of, though, right?
Yeah.
I think they're pointless.
Pointless.
I think they're pointless, bro. But if you enjoy horror movies and you're enjoying one set in the modern era, you kind of have to overlook the fact that there's a suspension of disbelief that has to go into watching the movie and enjoying it.
Yeah.
It's just like pro wrestling, right? If you're going to enjoy pro wrestling, there needs to be a suspension of disbelief. There does.
That's my thing. Okay. Real quick on wrestling. It's so stupid. I hate the people that are like, it's fake. Yes, it's scripted. Yes, they know, they got their lines.
For pro wrestling right now?
Huh?
You're going to go to bat for pro wrestling right now?
I don't. I think it gets overhated. I do.
Let's go, bro.
And I've watched so little. I've watched so little of it to really have an opinion. But the talent. Oh, we're gonna talk about talent again, baby. The talent these people have to do the stuff that they do, or the durability. They're getting slammed on a bed of thumbtacks. You go out there and do that and call it fake. It's not fake. Yeah. It's scripted. Just like every movie you've ever watched. Just like every TV show you've ever watched. It's the same thing. The acting may be a little more over the top. But that's that industry. That's how it works.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Within the past 3 weeks, I've had someone tell me that liking pro wrestling is the most Appalachian thing about me. And then I also got told that... Oh, I had it on the tip of my tongue. I forgot it. Hold on.
Was it
I
about
literally
wrestling?
just completely had it erased from my mind.
Was it about wrestling?
Yeah. It was along the lines of I just don't see how as an adult you could enjoy that. Something like that. I had the exact quote. It's along those lines.
I think it's cool. I think it's cool.
It's the same way you turn into Grey's Anatomy every week.
Oh God.
Your favorite show?
The wife pulled me into Grey's Anatomy and we watched it. And I will go to bat for that show. I don't know when. Spoiler alert, Derek Shepherd dies. Derek Shepherd, the best character, one of the best characters ever written, in my opinion, dies. They kill him. Once he dies, the show starts to go downhill, and then it just eventually goes to absolute crap. But until he dies, that show is very good, I think. It is, even in that, at Grey's Anatomy's best, it's doctors that bone each other every day. That's all Grey's Anatomy is.
And you're saying it's really good.
I think
doctors boning each other every day is really good, guys.
If you can ignore that part of it, then the cases, the stories, or whatever, the people that come in, pretty good. They do
Chicago MD. Have you seen any of the Chicago shows? They have like a whole
That's
trio.
the only one I haven't seen. We've watched PD and Fire.
Oh, okay. I've started watching, not on my own accord, actually, while I was home for Thanksgiving, and then we spent a weekend there a couple weeks back before then as well. My mother and father-in-law are watching PD, and that show's freaking great, dude. That show's so good. That
Early
show's
PD.
so good, bro.
Early PD with Hank Voight at his best. Oh.
Does he go away?
No, it's just over time, again, like, because they kind of acknowledge the fact, like, oh, like, you're not going to get away with not having cameras in the room where you hold the perps. Like, you know, he would go into the room and just beat the crap out of him. Can't do that anymore because now there's cameras in there. So he has to become, like, more restrained as the show goes on.
Spoiler alert here. Legitimate spoiler alert. If you're watching PD and don't want to hear it, you might want to skip about a minute ahead. I'll give you about 5 seconds to do so. But I happened to see in my 10 episodes of the show I've watched him kill the guy that killed his son.
Yeah,
and
dude.
Mostly get away with it.
Dude, he is.
I think he does eventually get caught.
Hank Voight is one of the coolest.
He's kind of goated, bro. He's
so
goated.
Like, they do such a good job of. He shows up in Chicago Fire first. That's where you get your first glimpses of him,
right?
Yeah. You get your first glimpses of him in Chicago Fire, and you hate his guts in Chicago Fire.
Really?
You hate him. He is the dirty cop.
He's like the Vulture in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah. Like you hate him. He's terrible. But then you get to so you start PD and you're like, I don't like this guy. And then like, oh, dude, he wins you over. Oh, it's so good.
Can we just take a second to say rest in peace, Captain Holt?
Oh my god,
he is that whole show. That jarred me.
Andre Brower, I think that's how you say his last name.
The night before. I think it's Brower, yeah.
Andre Brower. Dude, Captain Holt is one of my... If I sincerely had to sit down...
Character.
If I had to sit down and make a top 5 TV characters of all time, he's easily in the top 5.
Case!
He's
got the big lump. Case! It's with the K.
I loved any bit where like he had to act like he was heterosexual. You know how I am, Miranda.
Yes.
I see a pair of large, weighty breasts, and I just
large,
lose all
weighty
self-control.
breasts.
He was fantastic. I hate it.
You want to know a hilarious moment I have regarding Captain Holt's lack of heterosexuality, if you want to phrase it like that?
Okay.
A friend in high school was insistent that I watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And back then, I wasn't watching like any shows regularly. I just wasn't. I was so consumed with pro wrestling that I was watching like multiple companies every night of the week. There was something. It was crazy, dude, right? So I'd have to like turn Ring of Honor on my phone, and then here's MLW, and here's this. It was crazy. I didn't have time for anything else because I was so obsessed. But I was over at this friend's house, and she was like, watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm like, okay. I'll give it an episode to see if it wins me over. And it did, right? Mm-hmm. And she says, when Captain Holt shows up, he's the new captain, right? And she says, oh, there's something really funny about him, by the way. And I was like, oh, okay. And before that scene ended, I was like, oh, so he's gay? And it's not hinted at all. It's really not.
Not yet, yeah.
Right? They really do a good job of hiding it in that first episode until he's like, oh, yeah, by the way.
Right.
And so she, like, paused it. She was like, you've seen this before. I was like, no. That just seems like where they were headed with it. And she's like, why did you think that? There's nothing that points you in that direction. I was like, that's just where it seems like they were headed. I don't know.
Right.
He's so great. He's so good.
Fantastic.
He's my profile picture on Peacock.
And mine too, yeah.
Is he seriously?
Yeah.
Well, dude, that was terrible news. Rest in peace, man.
As it certainly was. Another thing I want to say real quick, just because you talked about it, you said whenever you're watching these movies or wrestling or whatever it may be, you have to... how did you phrase it? You have to suspend belief? Is that how you say it?
Suspension of disbelief. It's a big... That's the only reason pro wrestling is able to be successful. Everybody on any side of the industry will tell you that. If not for the suspension of disbelief, yes, you know it's scripted. There are plenty of important big moments. Like the guy who's been trying for 5 years to win the world title, and he finally has a big match to win on the big stage, and it's obvious he's going to win it. We know that person's going to win the title that night. Mm-hmm. But we're still just as interested to see it.
Right.
That is crucial to be able to watch it. So.
That's what cracks me. If you have the proper amount of that ability, suspension of disbelief, like the ladder matches, the Money in the Cage, is that what it's called?
Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank. So funny to watch because they're like, they're so winded. They can't even climb the ladder. But here comes Braun Strowman. He's got a second win, and all of a sudden Roman Reigns does a back.
What's with the Braun Strowman love?
All of a sudden, Roman Reigns does a backflip off the ladder that he was just not struggling to climb a rung at a time. All of a sudden, they get like a burst of energy. It's hilarious.
It
you
is.
can watch it and be like,
so
oh, how stupid. He's not really tired. Yeah,
like,
he's not. It's just watch it. Just enjoy it.
Tag team matches. Every single tag team match
Yes.
that goes for more than 5 minutes, right? The guy's trapped and the guy who's been getting beat up, gets the other guy down, but now they're both down. Is he going to be able to get over there?
And then as soon as they
He got the
on.
tag. Oh, he comes in and the other guy goes nuts. The hot tag, they call it.
Is that?
But like,
Yes.
it's, I don't know.
It's fun.
I can't explain it.
Watch wrestling and try to just try to enjoy it, because it is so enjoyable if you let it be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to directly contradict myself. The reason I wanted to say this was because the suspension of disbelief. I can do that to degrees. If I'm watching Iron Man, I understand that it's a superhero movie. It's all fake, whatever. I can watch Transformers. It's all fake, whatever. Then I can watch American Sniper, all real, whatever. I can't watch Fast and Furious, where it's like these people build cars and they race, but also Dwayne The Rock Johnson is going to hold a helicopter with his bicep. I can't watch it. They're going to bench press a Lamborghini. I can't watch it. It's garbage. Yeah. Which on one end makes no sense, because I just said, like, yeah, it's stupid in wrestling when they do this stuff. Just enjoy it, because it's meant to be that way. I understand that at this point, Fast and the Furious knows what they do. They know what they are, and they just run with it. But I can't. I will never watch one of those movies. I can't. They're just so stupid.
I've seen a handful of them. I've seen the first two. I've seen Tokyo Drift, and I've seen Fast 5. I've not watched one since then. I don't plan on watching one anymore.
Right.
But I gotta say, you've been friends with our biggest mutual friend who's a wrestling fan for a long time. So did you just always know that he was a wrestling fan? Because especially as an adult, it's really awkward telling, dude, especially if you're like single. Oh, I like pro wrestling, by the way. Dude, you gotta find the right time and place to mention that. Or
it's
to
so
friends.
overhated, though, because
it's taboo.
How many
it's
things?
literally taboo. It's a taboo.
How many things do people like that are, if you want to use the word cringy, are as cringy or even worse than pro wrestling?
Why is it more okay that someone will spend $2,000 to see Taylor Swift sing and watch every single episode of the Kardashians, but not that I like this publicly traded pro wrestling company?
Yep.
That's been doing it for a long time.
Are you just mad because I'm having more fun than you? Like, what is it?
Right?
I don't understand. I
don't know.
This is, like I said, I'm not gonna. We've mentioned it before. Like, I'm still gonna. I think it's a little over the top if you go to a game dressed as Darth Vader. I get that, but also the people that have spent $500 on a hand stitched jersey, you're doing the same thing. Don't make fun of the people going to the Star Wars convention dressed up as the characters when you're going to a football game dressed up as the characters. It's the same thing.
We just all need to be a little less, hateful about that sort of thing. Unless you're trying to shove Taylor Swift as the greatest artist of our generation down my throat.
Stans of almost anything I don't like. You could be a stan of the DC universe. I love DC.
Yes.
I probably don't like you if you're a stan. I don't like stans of anything because you're probably closed-minded. You're probably not willing to see the other side of arguments. So I
think you can be the guy that goes to the Star Wars conventions and be the guy that dresses up as, with a giant dolphin hat on and fins on his arms and his own fan jersey with his name on the back instead. I think you can be both those people without being stans. Let me be clear.
You can. Mm-hmm.
You can. If you're that person and also a stan, then you probably fall under the Taylor Swift category for us.
Right.
So.
Or the third category is you're the guy who does that at football games and this is all these nerds watching pro wrestling. Buddy, look in the mirror.
You know it's fake, right?
So stupid.
You know it's that's just fake, bro. You didn't know?
Okay, then don't watch. I love that meme where it's like,
sorry, I didn't know.
It's like literally like drawn with stick figures, but it's like a person's talking smack about something and this group's like enjoying it. He says another line and the group's still enjoying it, and he's like, and like the third frame is him screaming at them like, "Stop having fun!" Like that's what a lot of this is. Like, I'm sorry you hate wrestling. I'm sorry you think it's boring. I enjoy it, so let me watch.
And you don't even enjoy it. So how about that?
And again, it's so I know I'm contradicting myself when I just said that Fast and Furious is stupid. That's how it works, okay? But if you like Fast and Furious,
it has
have fun.
no real leg to stand on.
If
you're casually watching Fast and Furious, we're not hating on you.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're stupid for watching Fast and Furious. I'm just saying I won't watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I'm saying.
We got way off the topic of Christmas movies. I would have it no other way, though.
Not me either. I think
Merry
it's
coffee
really
to all. And to all, a Merry coffee.
And to all coffee.
And to all, I was trying to think of something we could say that's coffee related.
And to all, a charged lemonade. When life gives you lemonade, Joe Biden kills you with them. I hope that was that has to be fake, but honestly might not be.
I have to see if that's real.
Yeah.
Lemonade didn't kill people when I was president. Oh, God. Yeah, okay. We'll blame anything on whoever's in charge right now because they're the reason our lives are bad, right?
Yep. That's how it goes.
Whoever it is, doesn't matter who.
People are going to hate you no matter what.
Uh-huh. So, anyways, I think I'm good. I'm really excited for next week. We might even film early. Maybe even tomorrow, sounds like. Potentially.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm really excited for you to play your game. That, again, you came up with the idea for this game a long time ago on this podcast.
I'm excited, yeah, because
you're going to play it.
I came up with it, yeah.
You did. You came up with this idea. I'm calling it a game. It's not really a game. I'm calling it a game.
It's an activity that I'm going to partake in that I apparently came up with.
Correct. Yes.
Oh,
I'm very excited for it. It's all good things. There's no pressure, no nothing. It's just fun to be had.
Okay. I'm excited.
So, Merry coffee to all. That is it from me. Again, next week we'll be going live technically twice within the same week. Mm-hmm. Next episode will be live December 23rd. Tell a friend. Thank you for listening to the pod if you made it this far. Anything else?
Spank
you, Hern.
That's all I got, buddy. Merry coffee.
Right. Merry coffee. Screwed.
I can see. What were you doing? I could see you had a grin on your face, like you just. I knew you were gonna fumble. What happened? What intrusive thought crept into your mind? What happened?
Dude.
I watched you downfall. I watched it.
I'm cutting this out too. You keep that in. I'm not going to. How about that?
No. Well, what happened?
I was starting to laugh because you're like, oh my God, because I know what you're going to say. I was going to say, Merry coffee to all and to all a who day. I was going to say.
No.
Oh my God.
Right? I was going to say, I would, oh my God, that.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
So I was laughing. I was preparing myself for the fact that I knew you were going to go, oh my God.
No. Very nice.
So I said, Merry coffee.
No, it wasn't even then that I noticed that you were like, Merry coffee. And like, I don't know when exactly you started smiling. But
I said coffee.
You cracked your smile and I was like, he's about to break. What's going to happen? Yeah. And you did.
Yeah, dude. Terrible at that kind of stuff. Merry coffee to all and to all a who day.
Good Lord.
Who day, baby.